Tonight, sometime after midnight, you are going to build a city. You will invent its streets and its weather. You will fill it with people, write their conversations, and walk among them as though it had all been there for years. And by morning, you will have quietly torn it all down and forgotten nearly every stone of it. You do this most nights. Everyone does. Hello there, and welcome. However long your day has been, you can set it all down now. Get comfortable. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing slow. Tonight I have gathered the gentlest facts about dreams. Where they come from, why they melt away by morning, what the sleeping mind is quietly making all night long, and why some of the answers people searched for all day have arrived politely while they slept. You don't need to remember any of it. Dreams are the one subject where forgetting is entirely the point. So let your body grow heavy and warm. And let us begin at the door you are drifting toward right now. Here is the first soft fact. You dream every night. Everyone does, several times, whether or not a single trace of it survives until morning. Across a full night, you spend something like 2 hours dreaming, in separate episodes, each one longer than the last. Added up across a life that comes to years spent entirely in dreams, years of stories and places and faces, a whole second life, lived quietly in installments, one night at a time. You are not someone who occasionally dreams. You are a lifelong, nightly, prolific dreamer. You simply do not keep the archives. To rest tonight is to return to a country you have spent years in and know far better than you remember. And the dreams are not spread evenly through the night. The early hours belong mostly to deep, dreamless rest, the quiet, housekeeping sleep. The dreams gather toward morning. Each cycle of the night brings a longer dreaming spell than the one before, so that the last stretch before waking holds the longest, richest dreams of all. The night saves its stories for late, the way the best storytellers do. To fall asleep, then, is not to go straight to the theatre. It is to rest first, deeply and simply, while the stage is quietly set. To rest here at the start of the night is to let the deep sleep come first, knowing the dreams are scheduled and will keep. Now, the discovery of dreaming, which is a surprisingly recent and tender story. For most of history, no one knew when dreams happened, or how often. Then, within living memory, researchers watching sleeping infants noticed something odd. Every so often, beneath the closed lids, the eyes began to move, darting gently this way and that, as though watching something. They checked sleeping adults. The same. And when they woke people during those moments, out came the dreams, fresh and vivid. The dreaming mind, it turns out, looks. The eyes follow the dream the way they would follow the world. To rest with your eyes gently closed is to know they may yet do some traveling tonight, on their own, watching things only you will ever see. And the researchers noticed something else about the dreaming state that earned it a lovely nickname. During dreams, the brain is not quiet at all. Its activity looks remarkably like waking, busy, lively, engaged, while the body lies in its deepest stillness. The most active mind of the night lives inside the most restful body of the night. They called it paradoxical sleep, the sleep that is secretly wide awake, and the name has stuck in several languages. The dream, in other words, is not a flickering in the dark. It is the mind at something close to full power, pointed entirely inward. To rest tonight is to close the shutters of a workshop, where, later, all the lights will quietly come back on, and the day leaks into the night in a particular, well-documented way. People who spend hours at a new activity, skiing, sailing, fruit picking, a new puzzle game, find the activity replaying softly behind their eyes as they drift off, slopes tilting, water moving, shapes falling gently into place. Researchers call it the replay of the newly learned, and it is strongest with whatever is newest. The mind, closing up for the night, runs once more through the freshest pages. To rest after any full day is to expect a brief, harmless, rather pleasant reprise as you drift, which is simply the day being filed. And while the eyes dance, the body is politely stilled. During dreaming sleep, the muscles of the body are gently switched to rest, so that whatever you do in the dream, walk, run, fly, swim, the body lies quiet and safe beneath the blankets, going nowhere. The dream is given the whole of your imagination, and none of your limbs. It is one of sleep's most considerate arrangements. To rest inside that arrangement is to be free, all night, to go absolutely anywhere, while being kept all night perfectly safely here. And while a dream is running, it feels entirely real, and there is a gentle reason why. The part of the mind that stands back and checks, the skeptical supervisor that spends all day asking whether things make sense, is resting during dreams, properly off duty. With the supervisor asleep, the dream is simply accepted, marvels and all, the way a child accepts a story. Which is why you can converse with the impossible in a dream and think nothing of it. The dream does not fool you. It is shown to the trusting part of you, while the doubting part gets its well-earned rest. To rest tonight is to give the day's tireless fact-checker the night off, which it has thoroughly earned. And between the two worlds, the mind keeps a courteous amnesia, running both directions. In dreams, you rarely remember that you are lying down in a bed, or what day it is out here. And out here, the dreams slip away. Each world is kept mostly innocent of the other, 2 rooms with a soft door between them, so that neither disturbs the other's furniture. It is not a failure of memory. It is good housekeeping between 2 lives. To rest tonight is to step through that soft door, knowing this room will be kept exactly as you left it. Now, the forgetting, which people often regret, and needn't. Dreams dissolve within minutes of waking, sometimes within seconds, and the reason is gentle. During dreams, the brain's memory-writing chemistry is turned down low. The dream is played, but barely recorded. It was never meant to be kept. Dreams are sandcastles, built with real skill and real care, at the edge of a tide that was always going to come in. Nothing has gone wrong when a dream fades. That is the design. The value was in the building, not the keeping. To rest without gripping is to practice while awake, exactly what your dreams have been modeling for you all your life. And the forgetting is more selective and kinder than it first appears. The dreams that carry real feeling, the luminous ones, the important-seeming ones, are precisely the ones most likely to survive into morning. People carry a handful of dreams with them for decades, dreams from childhood, still vivid at the end of a long life, kept effortlessly, while 10,000 ordinary dreams dissolved on schedule. The night, it seems, does its own editing. It lets the everyday rushes go and keeps, without being asked, the scenes that mattered. To rest tonight is to trust the night's own editor, who has been choosing your keepsakes rather well all along. And yet, if you ever do want to catch one, there is a simple old method. Lie still when you wake. Do not move. Do not reach for anything. Do not let the day in yet. Dreams survive longest in stillness, and the first movement of the morning is usually what sweeps them away. People who keep dream journals learn this quickly, and with a little practice, the recall grows and grows. The dreams were always there. It was only the doorway that was leaky. To rest still in the morning, even for a few breaths, is to give the night's last story a chance to be heard. Now, some facts about what everyone dreams, because the repertoire is remarkably shared. All over the world, in every culture ever asked, people dream of the same handful of things: of flying, of falling, of being back at school, of searching for something, of familiar houses with unfamiliar rooms. Whatever divides the waking world, the dreaming world runs on a common stock of stories, issued to everyone. Your strangest dream is almost certainly someone else's strangest dream too, being dreamed tonight, somewhere, in another language. To rest before dreaming is to prepare for the most widely shared experience there is after sleep itself. And of all the shared dreams, the flying dreams are the treasure. Ask people their best dream ever, and again it is the same answer, the one where they simply lifted off, and it worked, and they soared over rooftops or fields or the sea, entirely unafraid. No one is ever taught to fly in dreams. The knowledge is just there, waiting, issued along with everything else. Somewhere tonight, thousands of people will fly, effortlessly, for free, over landscapes that do not exist. Some of them may be you. To rest with that possibility is to go to bed the way you would to an airfield, with mild and pleasant expectations. And the shared dreams are worth a moment more, because the common ones are gentler than their reputations. The back-at-school dream, which nearly everyone has for the rest of their lives, is really the mind revisiting the last place where being tested was official. It fades to nothing on waking, and it means only that some part of you still takes things seriously, which was never a fault. And the loveliest of the common dreams is the one about the house. You are somewhere familiar, your own home or a childhood one, and you find a door you had never noticed, and beyond it, rooms, whole extra rooms, sometimes whole wings, sunlit, furnished, quietly waiting. And in the dream you think, with rising delight, how did I never know this was here? People report this dream everywhere, all over the world, and dream students have long read it the kind way, as the mind's picture of its own spare capacity. More in you than you knew. Rooms you have not opened yet. To rest tonight is to sleep in a house that may at any moment turn out to be larger than you thought, which is also true of you. And the water dreams. Calm water in dreams is one of the most commonly reported settings there is. Slow rivers, still lakes, gentle seas, the mind returning to water the way holidaymakers do, for the same reason. Deep, dreaming sleep seems to like a shoreline. If you find yourself by quiet water tonight, you will be in the most popular resort in the dreaming world. To rest tonight is to hold a reservation somewhere with, in all likelihood, a very good view. Now, the dreams of those who cannot see. People who lose their sight later in life go on dreaming in images for years, the mind replaying its stored pictures. And people blind from birth dream just as richly as anyone, but their dreams are built of the senses they know, sound and touch, and warmth and smell, whole vivid worlds of texture and voice. The dreaming mind builds with whatever materials it has, and it builds beautifully with all of them. To rest with that fact is to know that dreams are not really made of pictures. They are made of experience, whatever shape it comes in. And here is a small, charming oddity. Some people dream in black and white. Not many, but some, and studies found the habit was far more common in generations who grew up with black and white television and films, and has faded since. Which suggests something wonderful, that the look of our dreams borrows, at least a little, from the screens and pictures of our childhood. The mind dreams in the visual language it was raised on. To rest with that thought is to wonder, gently, and without needing an answer, what tonight's palette will be. Now, the sounds. Dreams are full of them. Voices, doors, weather, and above all, music. People hear whole melodies in dreams, sometimes familiar ones, sometimes ones that do not exist anywhere else. More than one famous song was first heard complete in a dream, and written down in a hurry at the piano the next morning by a composer who could not believe his luck. The dreaming mind, it seems, includes a very capable in-house orchestra. To rest tonight is to hold a ticket to a private concert whose program no one, including you, has seen. And the smells, curiously, almost never come. Dreams are rich in sight and sound, decent with touch, and yet scent appears in almost none of them. The nose, faithful all day, mostly takes the night off, which is perhaps why the smell of morning coffee or rain through the window lands with such force on waking. It is the first scent after a long, fragrance-free journey. To rest scentlessly through the night is to be guaranteed at least one small, vivid pleasure on arrival in the morning. And the light in dreams is nearly always kind. People asked to describe dream lighting reach for the same words: soft, diffuse, golden, dim, like evening, like early morning. Harsh light is rare in dreams. Glare is almost unheard of. Whatever else the dreaming mind invents, it seems to keep a cinematographer with very gentle taste, who lights every scene, even the strange ones, like the last hour of a summer afternoon. To rest tonight is to be headed somewhere with, dependably, the most flattering light there is. And here is one of the tenderest facts in all of dream science. Pain almost never appears in dreams. You can fall in a dream and land softly. Things that should hurt simply do not. The body's pain machinery is, for the most part, left out of the night's productions entirely, as though the dreaming mind, handed every tool in the workshop, quietly declines to use that one. Whatever the dreams are for, they are not for hurting you. On the contrary, they are among the most protected hours you have. To rest tonight is to enter the one theatre where nothing on the stage can actually bruise. And in dreams, you often simply know things. You know that the stranger is an old friend, that the house is yours, that the train is the right one, without being told and without checking. The dream hands you the plot directly, understanding included, the way a considerate host tells you everyone's name at the door. Waking life makes you work for your certainty. The dream just gives it to you, with a generosity you only notice afterward. To rest tonight is to travel somewhere you will always, mysteriously, already know your way around. Now, a gentle marvel about the casting. Every person who appears in your dream, every stranger on a dream street, every face in a dream crowd is generated by you. Your mind writes their dialogue, chooses their clothes, and performs every one of them simultaneously, while also playing you and painting the scenery and running the weather. A single sleeping mind stages nightly, a production that would bankrupt any studio on earth. And it does this modestly, without applause, and strikes the set before dawn. To rest tonight is to hand yourself over to the most capable production company in existence, which happens to be you. And the sets deserve their own fact. The dreaming mind builds places wholesale. Cities you have never visited, houses assembled from every home you have ever known, coastlines, staircases, entire landscapes, all raised in an instant and fully furnished. Architects sometimes report stealing ideas from buildings they walked through in dreams. The mind is a builder that works only at night, never repeats itself, and never sends a bill. To rest tonight is to commission, without lifting a finger, an entire original world, delivery guaranteed by morning. And the physics of that world are wonderfully relaxed. In dreams, doors lead where they please. A corridor in your school opens into your grandmother's kitchen, which has always, apparently, overlooked the sea. Geography rearranges itself between glances, and the remarkable thing is that no one in the dream minds, least of all you. The dreaming mind does not enforce the rules of space. It enforces only the story, and the story goes where it likes. There is a deep restfulness in that, if you think about it. For a third of your life, you inhabit a world with no traffic, no distances, and no wrong turns, where every journey takes exactly as long as it is interesting. To rest tonight is to travel by the most forgiving transport network ever devised, where every connection is guaranteed, and the dream world keeps its own weather and its own hours. Dreams are very often set in a kind of permanent late afternoon, or a soft overcast, or a warm night, and dream weather tends strongly toward the gentle. Rain in dreams is usually mild. Snow in dreams falls softly. The dreaming mind, given command of all the elements, reaches again and again for the comfortable ones, like an innkeeper who keeps the fire lit whatever the season. To rest tonight is to book a room in a country with, on the whole, remarkably pleasant weather. Now, the small tells of the dream world, which are rather sweet. In dreams, clocks and printed words misbehave. Look at a clock twice, and the time will have changed impossibly. Read a sign, look away, read it again, and the letters will have quietly rearranged. The dreaming mind is a magnificent painter and a poor typesetter, and people who train themselves to notice this can use it as a gentle test of where they are. To rest with that secret is to carry a small key to the dream country, whether or not you ever choose to use it. And that brings us to lucid dreaming, the old and gentle art of knowing you are dreaming while it happens. It is real and well documented, and some people cultivate it, learning to notice the tells, and then softly to steer, to choose to fly, to visit a place, to turn a strange street into a familiar one. It takes patience, and it rewards calm, and the practiced ones say the trick is not to seize the dream, but to lean it gently, the way you lean a sailing boat. To rest tonight is to set out on waters some people have learned to sail, and everyone is allowed to drift. And the most astonishing gentle experiment ever done with dreams involves those lucid dreamers. Researchers asked practiced lucid dreamers to signal from inside a dream by moving their eyes in an agreed pattern, left, right, the one part of the body, the dream still moves. And it worked. The sleeping dreamers, deep in their dreams, swept their eyes on cue, and the watching instruments recorded it. A message sent deliberately from inside a dream to the waking world. It remains one of the quietest and strangest greetings ever exchanged. To rest tonight is to enter a country that has, at least once, politely waved back. And pause on the scale of it for a moment, because it is one of the loveliest facts of all. At this hour, hundreds of millions of people are dreaming. Right now. A whole hemisphere of invented cities, conversations, flights, and reunions is running simultaneously. None of it visible, none of it recorded, each production playing to its single spectator. Taken together, the sleeping half of the world is staging, at this moment, the largest festival of original works there has ever been. And it does this every single night, and no reviewer has ever seen any of it. The greatest show on earth is, and has always been, entirely private. To rest tonight is to take your place in the vastest, quietest audience in existence, each member alone in their own theatre, all of them settling in together. Now, the work the dreams are doing, because they are not idle entertainment. Sleep scientists have watched the sleeping brain replay the day. Rats who ran a maze replayed the maze in their sleep, the same patterns firing. The run rehearsed again in miniature. Young songbirds rehearse their songs in their sleep, the singing circuits practicing silently through the night, so that they wake a little closer to their father's song. The night shift, it turns out, is a rehearsal. What you practiced today is being practiced again, right now, for free. To rest after learning anything is to hand it to the night tutor, who works while you sleep and charges nothing. And people are no different. Musicians play a passage better in the morning than they did at last night's practice, without touching the instrument in between. New skills consolidate overnight. The clumsy afternoon attempt becomes the smoother morning one, and the improvement happens in the dark, in sleep, partly in dreams. Sleeping on it is not a folk saying. It is a technique, and it works. To rest tonight is to continue, by other means, everything you were trying to get better at today. And the dreams tend the feelings too. Dreaming sleep takes the day's emotional moments and replays them softly, with the alarm chemistry turned down, so that the memory keeps its meaning, but loses some of its sting. Night after night, the sharp edges of experience are gently sanded. It is why hard things really do feel different after a night's sleep, and why the advice to sleep before deciding is some of the oldest and best there is. To rest tonight is to send the day's feelings to the gentlest workshop there is, and to collect them in the morning, smoothed. And the naps deserve a mention, because they dream too. Morning naps, in particular, drop into dreaming sleep unusually quickly and generously, which is why a Sunday morning doze so often comes with vivid, elaborate dreams out of all proportion to its length. The siesta cultures have known the pleasure of the dreaming nap for centuries. A short sleep in the soft part of the day is not a lesser sleep. It is a different door into the same theatre, with a matinee program of its own. To rest well at night is also to earn the option, someday soon, of one of those lavish little matinees. And the sleeping on it effect has been tested properly, and it holds. In studies, people given tricky puzzles solve them at notably higher rates after a night's sleep than after the same hours spent awake. Somewhere in the night, the mind keeps working the problem, loosely, sideways, without effort or anxiety, and hands a surprising number of people the answer with breakfast. The advice your grandmother gave was, it turns out, a well-supported cognitive strategy. To rest tonight with anything unsolved is to assign it, formally, to the department with the best track record in the building. Now, the famous dream discoveries, because the night has solved real problems. A chemist puzzling over the shape of a molecule dreamed of a snake curling round to bite its own tail, and woke understanding the ring he was looking for. An inventor stuck on his sewing machine dreamed the answer to where the needle's eye should go. A scientist arranging the elements reported that the table came to him rounded and complete in a dream. And more than one beloved melody arrived whole in sleep and had to be asked around about because its composer could not believe he had not simply heard it somewhere. The dreaming mind tries combinations the waking mind never would, sideways ones, playful ones, and now and then one of them is the answer. To rest with a question tonight is to leave it out on the workbench of the best odd hours workshop there is. And the arts owe the night at least as much as the sciences do. Whole poems have arrived in dreams, famously and verifiably. Painters have painted what they woke from, and said so. Writers have dreamed their plots, their characters, sometimes their opening lines, delivered whole. One celebrated author dreamed the central scene of her most famous novel when she was still a teenager, on a rainy summer holiday, and simply wrote down what she had seen. The strange tale that resulted has never been out of print. The muses, whoever they are, appear to keep night hours. To rest tonight with anything half-made, a plan, a project, a paragraph, is to leave it where the night staff can get at it. And notice how fair this particular muse is. Waking inspiration tends to favor the trained, the practiced, the well-positioned. But the dream muse calls on everyone. School children dream astonishing things. People who have never written a word wake from dreams with stories they tell for the rest of their lives. The night hands out original material without checking credentials, every single night, to the entire sleeping world. To rest tonight is to stand in the one queue, where everyone, without exception, eventually gets handed something. And this is old wisdom, formally practiced. In the ancient world, there were temples of healing, where people traveled great distances to do one thing: sleep. They would rest in the sacred halls, hoping for a healing or advising dream, and priests would help them consider what came. Whole architecture, whole pilgrimages, built around the idea that sleep might hand you something worth having. They may have dressed it in myth, but the underlying bet that the night knows things the day does not has aged rather well. To rest tonight with something on your mind is to visit that old temple in its modern form, which is any quiet bedroom. Now, some soft facts about the language of dreams. In English you have a dream, but in a great many languages you see one. In Turkish, in Arabic, in Hindi, in Japanese, the everyday phrase is to see a dream, as though the dream were a place or a scene that visited, rather than a thing you produced. And there is something lovely in that framing. The dream as a view, arriving nightly, to be watched rather than owned. To rest tonight is to take your seat by the window and wait to see what goes past. And the word dream itself has a gentle history. In the oldest English, the word that became dream meant joy, and music, and festivity. A dream was a delight before it was a night vision, and somewhere along the centuries, the meanings folded together. Which feels right? The old speakers may have known something, that what happens behind closed eyes at night belongs, at root, to the family of joy and music. To rest tonight is to head toward something whose very name began as the word for joy. And people have written their dreams down for as long as there has been writing. Some of the oldest stories we have include dreams, recounted and pondered. In the oldest surviving epic, the hero brings each strange dream to his mother, who listens carefully and tells him what it may mean, which is to say that one of the first conversations in all of literature is someone telling someone who loves them about a dream. Ancient Egypt had dream books, long catalogues of dreams and their meanings, consulted the way one might consult an almanac. Whatever else changes, the morning conversation, "I had the strangest dream," is one of the oldest conversations in the world, and it is still being had at breakfast tables everywhere today. To rest tonight is to gather material for humanity's most ancient small talk. And in Japan, there is a lovely custom around the first dream of the new year. It even has its own name and its own lucky symbols. And the luckiest first dream of all, by long tradition, is said to contain Mount Fuji, or a hawk, or delightfully, an eggplant. Scholars still debate how the eggplant earned its place. But for centuries, people have gone to bed at the new year, gently hoping for a mountain, a bird, or a vegetable. And there is something perfect about a culture assigning good fortune to the contents of a dream. To rest tonight is to remember that people have always treated dreams as small gifts and have always checked, hopefully, what was inside. And the telling of dreams is its own quiet institution. In households all over the world, the first conversation of the day includes the night's dreams, offered over tea or coffee, half remembered, laughed about, puzzled over. Some families keep the custom for generations without ever calling it a custom. It is one of the small intimacies of living with people, hearing the nonsense their minds got up to in the dark, and offering yours in return. To rest tonight is possibly to be gathering tomorrow's first story, for whoever you tell your mornings to. Now, the edges of sleep, the borderlands, which have their own gentle phenomena. As you drift off, in the loose minutes before true sleep, the mind begins to release images, faces you do not recognize, landscapes sliding past, fragments of scenes, like a projector warming up before the feature. These drifting pictures are a normal, harmless, rather beautiful part of falling asleep, and noticing them calmly is a sign you are nearly through the door. You may meet some of them in the next little while. They require nothing of you. They are the trailers. To rest as the pictures begin to drift is to know exactly where you are on the road, which is almost there. And that drifting doorway state has one more charming feature. The mind, as it loosens, begins to speak in its own falling asleep language, odd phrases surfacing from nowhere, sentences that almost mean something, words gently coming unglued from their meanings. People roused in this state report thoughts like, "The umbrella is mostly Tuesdays," offered by their own minds in complete sincerity. It is the sound of the day's strict logic being folded up and put away, and it is one of the most reliable signs that sleep is a minute or two out. If a thought like that floats past you shortly, greet it warmly. It is the doorman. To rest as the words come unglued is to be almost exactly at the threshold, which is precisely where you want to be. And at the far end of the night, there is a matching borderland, the soft, confused sweetness just after waking, when the dream is still half draped over everything, and the day has not yet insisted on itself. If you wake gently from a dream and lie still, you can sometimes drift back down into it, the way one steps back into a warm room, and the story resumes, more or less where it left off. Not always, but often enough to be worth knowing. To rest tonight is to enter a theatre with a generous readmission policy. And the dream theatre has one more charming habit. It works the outside world into the script. Sounds from the waking room, when they are gentle enough not to wake you, get woven into the story as it runs. Real rain on your window becomes dream rain on a dream roof. A distant bell becomes a dream bell. The mind, rather than letting the world interrupt the play, hires the world as a sound effects department and writes its contributions in seamlessly on the fly, which means that gentle sounds around a sleeper are not lost on them. They may be in the show. To rest tonight with a soft voice still going is to know that some of it may drift in and be given a small, kindly role. And scent, though it rarely appears inside dreams, can colour them from outside. In sleep studies, a pleasant scent drifting through the room. Roses were the famous one. Tilted people's dreams measurably toward the pleasant, while unpleasant smells tilted them the other way. The dreaming mind keeps one window slightly open, and the mood of what blows in matters. It is worth knowing, simply because it means the old instincts were right, that a clean, fresh, comfortable room is not just nicer to fall asleep in, it is nicer to dream in. To rest in a pleasant room tonight is to set the stage in more ways than one. And dreams visit the daytime, too, in their quiet way. The wandering mind of an idle afternoon, the drift you fall into on a train or in a warm chair, runs on some of the same machinery as the night's dreaming. Daydreams are dreams at low volume. The mind, it turns out, never entirely stops telling itself stories. It merely saves the full production values for the dark. To rest tonight is to let the day's murmured storytelling finally rise to its full, strange, wonderful voice. Now, a word on the recurring dreams, the ones that come back. Most people have one. The same exam, the same house, the same lost path, returning every so often across years. The gentlest way to think of them is as the mind's sticky notes, a theme it wishes to revisit, presented in the same familiar staging, because the set was already built. They tend to soften, people find, once the waking life gives their theme a little attention. They are not warnings. They are reminders, written in the night's own shorthand. To rest tonight is to be open to whatever note the night leaves, knowing all of its notes are written kindly. And not all dreams are strange, which is its own quiet comfort. A great many dreams, when researchers collect them systematically, turn out to be gentle and almost mundane, walking somewhere, talking with someone, doing ordinary things in ordinary rooms. The spectacular dreams get all the retellings, but the bulk of the night's programming is calmer fare, the mind idling pleasantly through everyday scenes, like a painter who mostly sketches what is around the house. Most of your dream life, in other words, has been quiet. You have spent years of it doing nothing more dramatic than being somewhere, comfortably, with people. To rest tonight is very likely to attend something gentle, whatever the highlights reel suggests. And the night's stories, taken together, have a shape. The early dreams of the night are short and simple, often reworking the day just past. The later dreams grow longer, stranger, and further ranging, reaching back years and mixing eras freely. Childhood streets furnished with present-day faces. The night begins with the recent and drifts toward the deep, like a conversation that starts with today and ends hours later, somewhere in the old stories. To rest tonight is to begin with the shallows and be carried, gradually and safely, out into the deeper, older, more interesting water. And if you surface briefly between those waves tonight, drifting half awake in the small hours, that too is part of the design. Sleep was never meant to be one unbroken block. The night has always had its gentle risings and settlings, its moments of turning over and drifting on, and dreamers through most of history thought nothing of them. To wake softly in the night is not to have failed at sleeping. It is to be between dreams, briefly, in the corridor, on your way to the next one. To rest tonight is to know that any brief waking is only an intermission, and the theatre never closes. And the voices in dreams are worth one more soft fact. Speech in dreams is real speech, fluent, grammatical, often witty, produced by the sleeping mind without effort. People solve crosswords in dreams, make jokes in dreams, are surprised by clever things other dream characters say, forgetting that they themselves are writing every line. You are, in your sleep, a better playwright than you have ever suspected. With a gift for dialogue, you have been quietly exercising your whole life. To rest tonight is to attend a play whose script, written entirely by you, will still manage to surprise you. And there is a small, strange feeling worth naming, the sense, now and then, that a waking moment was already dreamed, that you have seen this exact scene before, in your sleep. It even has a name, déjà rêve, already dreamed. No one fully understands it. It is almost certainly a gentle mismatch of memory, a scene filed as older than it is. But as illusions go, it is a sweet one, the waking world briefly wearing the dream world's clothes. To rest tonight is to feed the archive from which all such lovely confusions are made. And word about who you are in there, because it is rather touching. In dreams, you are very rarely old, whatever your age. Dreamers report being, in most dreams, somewhere in a broad and comfortable prime, capable, mobile, themselves at full strength. The dream self does not seem to keep close track of the calendar. It issues you, most nights, a version of yourself from the middle of the road, and lets you drive. To rest tonight is to look forward to meeting, in all probability, a thoroughly able-bodied edition of yourself. And the dream library only grows. Everything you have ever seen, every room, every face, every quality of light on every afternoon is potential material, and the dreaming mind draws on all of it, freely mixing decades. A childhood garden appears with last week's weather. A school friend turns up unchanged in a city you moved to long after losing touch. The dream does not archive your life in order. It shelves everything together, one enormous open room, and wanders it at will. Which means the older you grow, the richer your dreams become. The library only ever acquires. To rest tonight is to hand the keys to a collection that has been growing, without a single loss that matters, all your life. Now, the animals, briefly and gently, because the dreaming country has other citizens. The evidence is good that many creatures dream. Sleeping dogs run their gentle dream errands. Sleeping birds rehearse their songs. And the octopus, drifting in its den, washes through waves of color in its sleep, its skin flickering through the patterns of hunting and hiding and resting, as though its dreams were being gently broadcast on its surface. Dreaming is not a human invention. It is far older than we are, and we inherited it, the way we inherited sleep itself. To rest and dream tonight is to do something the whole animal kingdom has been doing, in dens and nests and deep water, since long before anyone could describe it. And among the animal dreamers, the champion is a surprise. The platypus, that gentle, improbable creature, spends more of its sleep in the dreaming state than almost any animal ever measured. Hour upon hour of it curled in its burrow beside the river. What a platypus dreams about is anyone's guess, and the guessing is half the pleasure. Somewhere in Australia tonight, the animal kingdom's most dedicated dreamer is hard at work, and no one will ever know the program. To rest tonight is to be, at best, the second most enthusiastic dreamer in the world, and there is no shame in silver. Now, the dreamers at either end of life, briefly and warmly. Small children dream in shorter, simpler scenes, and their dreams are famously full of animals, far more than adult dreams are. The dream life apparently begins as a picture book and grows its plots later. And the very young spend far more of their sleep in the dreaming state than adults do, infants most of all, which raises the sweet and unanswerable question of what a newborn, with almost nothing yet to remember, could possibly be dreaming. Whatever it is, they do a great deal of it, and they smile during some of it. To rest tonight is to continue a practice you began before you could speak, and were apparently enjoying even then. And the dreams sometimes arrange reunions. People report again and again dreams in which someone dearly missed simply appears, ordinary and warm, sitting at the old kitchen table or walking the old street. And the dream carries no drama at all, just company. People tend to wake from those dreams moved, and often grateful. The mind keeps everyone we have ever loved on file, and now and then, on its own schedule, and for its own kind reasons, it lets us visit. To rest tonight is to sleep in the one place where nothing loved is ever entirely out of reach. And a last small scientific tenderness. The cycles of the night run roughly an hour and a half each, sleep deepening and lightening in long, slow waves, with a dreaming spell riding near the top of each wave. 4 or 5 waves a night, each dream longer than the last, which means the night has a shape, a rhythm, a swell, and you are about to launch onto it. You will rise and settle all night on waves you will never feel, dreaming a little more generously on each one. To rest tonight is to put out to sea on the calmest waters there are, with the longest stories saved for the end of the voyage, and one last practical tenderness about the morning. When you wake with a dream still in hand, you have two good options, and they are both good. You can lie still and let it write itself into memory, and keep it, and turn it over during the day. Or you can simply let it go, back into the mist, unexamined, the way most of humanity has let most of its dreams go since the beginning. Neither is a mistake. The dream did its work either way, in the running of it, hours before you woke. There is no homework. There has never been any homework. To rest tonight is to be certain that whatever the night makes, the morning will ask nothing of you about it. And notice, finally, what the dreams ask for, because it is exactly what you are providing. Darkness, warmth, stillness, and a mind allowed to loosen. That is the entire list of requirements. The most elaborate creative act of your daily life needs no equipment, no preparation, and no skill, only the conditions of an ordinary, comfortable bed on an ordinary night. You are, at this moment, meeting every requirement in full. Whatever tonight's dreams turn out to be, you have already done your entire share of the work. To rest here, warm and still and loosening, is not the thing you do before the night's creation begins. It is the beginning. And now, as our journey draws toward its close, three last soft facts. The first is about tonight's program. In the hours ahead, your mind will compose several entirely original works. Places that have never existed. Conversations never spoken. Music, possibly, that no one has heard. All of it made fresh tonight, for an audience of exactly one, and most of it released back into the dark by morning. There is no other art form so generous, so private, or so unconcerned with being kept. To rest tonight is to attend a premiere. The second is about fairness. Dreaming is the most evenly distributed gift there is. It cannot be bought, improved by wealth, or taken away by circumstance. Every sleeper on earth tonight, in every country and condition, receives the same nightly issue of stories, the same chance of flying, the same private theatre. Whatever else is shared out unevenly in this world, the dreams are not. To rest tonight is to collect an inheritance that everyone gets, and no one can lose. And the third is the softest. You do not have to do anything. The dreams require no talent, no preparation, no effort, and no memory afterward. Your only role is the one you are performing right now, growing warm, growing heavy, letting the thoughts loosen. Everything else, the writing, the building, the casting, the music, will be handled expertly by the oldest and most reliable department you have. To rest tonight is to delegate completely to someone who has never once missed a night. You don't need to hold on to any of this. Let every fact dissolve now, softly, the way the dreams themselves will dissolve toward morning, having done their work. But perhaps you can keep one small thought. All your life, without applause and without pay, your mind has been making things for you at night. Cities, songs, flights over water, gentle rehearsals of everything you were trying to learn, soft repairs to everything that stung. It has never missed a night, and it has never once asked to be remembered. Tonight, it will do it all again. You have, and have always had, a devoted artist working for you in the dark. The kindest thing you can do for it is exactly what you are doing now. Arrive rested. Give it the whole night, and let it surprise you. Somewhere right now, someone is flying in their sleep. Someone's melody is being composed for the morning. Someone's hard day is being gently sanded smooth. And here, in this moment, at the door of your own night's work, you are safe and warm and exactly where you need to be. So let your breathing slow, like a theatre going dark. Let your body grow heavy and still, the way the body politely stills for a dream. Let every last thought drift loose, one by one, like the first faces and landscapes sliding past, which means you are nearly there. The stage is set. The stories are ready. They were made for you tonight and for no one else. Sleep well, traveler, and enjoy the show. Good night.